The city of greats. We're talking about great organizations leading people. We're talking about people who've lived great lives. We're talking about a city that has great athletics, has great parks, great people, great history, great industry, great town as far as our creativity in technology. And I'm really pleased to announce we also, as it's not the first, but it is certainly great to have great poets in this city. And we asked Terrance to join us here. I'll read a little bit about his proclamation, but this is a poet to keep your eye on, but more importantly to enjoy through the written word. Whereas Terrance Hayes, born in Columbia, South Carolina in 1971 and educated at Coker College where he studied painting and English and was an academic all-star on the men's basketball team. And whereas after receiving a master's degree from the University of Pittsburgh in 1997, he taught in southern Japan, Columbus, Ohio, and New Orleans, Louisiana. And whereas Mr. Hayes returned to Pittsburgh in 2001 to teach at Carnegie Mellon University, where he became one of the university's youngest full professors in 2006. Not an easy feat in and of itself. Whereas Mr. Hayes' his honors include a Guggenheim Fellowship, a profile on PBS NewsHour with Jim Laird, and a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship. And whereas Mr. Hayes has read his poetry throughout this country in venues that include but are not limited to the Lincoln Center for Performing Arts, the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture, the August Wilson Center for African American Culture here in Pittsburgh, Princeton University, Yale University, UCLA, the Boys Club of New York, Geraldine Dodge Poetry Festival, and I could name others. We were talking beforehand. He's heading off to Harvard next month. He does a lot of readings in a lot of great places. Whereas he was also recently honored as a recipient of the New Pittsburgh Courier's 50 Men of Excellence Award in 2010. And whereas in November, Terrance Hayes became one of the youngest poets ever with the National Book Award Poetry category for his collection, Lightheaded. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize Terrance Hayes as one of America's most dynamic and accomplished poets, and his receipt for the 2010 National Book Award Poetry category. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, November 30th, 2010, Terrance Hayes Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
So, when I got this award in New York, I was not prepared, so I didn't have a speech. Because I didn't think I was going to win. So this time, for you guys, I tapped something out. Pittsburgh is where I became a poet. I came here for graduate school in the early 90s, and most of my first book, Muscular Music, is about this city and its inhabitants. I befriended not only students, but cooks, rappers, basketball players, exiles, immigrants, bank tellers, homicide detectives, and each of these people were poets. I'm thinking about specific people, a homicide detective that was a poet, a chef that was a poet. When I left Pittsburgh after grad school, I assumed that any city with a population of this size would contain the same rich arts community. So I lived in Ohio, Japan, New Orleans, and while each of those spaces did in fact have thriving art communities, none seemed quite as diverse to me. None seemed to speak to my interest in overlapping identities. I'm a professor who is the son of parents who didn't graduate from high school. I'm a Southerner who loves snow. I'm a poet who loves the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm a teacher who loves to be taught. So in this city, I find people as strange and unlikely as myself. They're sometimes my students at Carnegie Mellon, sometimes they're the open mic poets at the Shadow Lounge at East Liberty, sometimes they're the poets I meet for lunch and workshops, and I hear readings like history. We are each other's inspirations. So any award or recognition I receive is a result of the resources that this city provides. So